Alright, welcome back. This is M-Dog. And we are leveling together. We're going to really just kind of feature this North Carolina map here in this episode. Couple quick things. Between the last episode and this one, I have made some changes. That is so interesting, these secret missions. Alright, so we completed, let's go to completed missions here. We completed the Pike Hunt 1 casting spoon mission, and that just has you go to 3 different locations and catch some trophy pickerels. It's really not too bad. If anybody needs help on that mission, just let me know. But there's other videos out there showing you kind of the best spots to fish there, and I can show you the one here in North Carolina, but the other ones are just would require traveling, which we're not going to do, at least in this episode. But this trophy frog popper is a good lure that you have access to. We're up to 18 now, which the levels have just been flying by. But as early as like level 8, or I mean even by 10 for sure, you could be able to get access to this. But anyway, I went ahead and prioritized that because I wanted to come here to North Carolina and really try to focus on bass for a little bit. So to do that, we've spent a lot of money. We're back up to 12,000, but we actually gone from like 20,000 down to almost nothing after traveling here. But I got a casting rod, which is the Jester 6'3", goes up to 11.5 pound line weight. We got the Lodex MG 1000S, which I really like. This casting reel, this goes up to 8.8 pounds max drag. And I've been using this Fluoro 8-pound Flora line to try to increase the bite rate of the bass. I had the braid on there because of the bass mission actually has you use braid, but overall I like using the fluorocarbon line, I think. And of course the frog popper. So we purchased this stuff. We also purchased a bag that lets us have 3 rods, a stand that lets us have two rods out at the same time. The next thing we need to purchase is a new fish net, which we when we leave here, we'll have access to some new ones, because this is the one thing that's holding us back, both in the total fish weight we can have, and also we can't have any fish over 8.5 pounds. So like I caught a unique gar here in North Carolina, but had to release it because it was too big, and same thing with the catfish. So all right, so that's kind of catching you up on what we've done coming here. I've skipped forward in time so that's at least decently hot fishing time. Hopefully we'll be able to catch a few fish. And let's go fishing. We're actually going to pop around to all 4 sites. I want to show you spots on all 4 areas. There is an older video. I think it was, I've watched several at this point, but I think KP Shimino did a video where he was using this frog popper, which is what initially gave me the idea. And at least back then, he was just getting tons of largemouth trophies. That has not been my experience. I'm not sure if the lake has been nerfed a little bit, or if that specific lure has been nerfed, or if I'm just not fishing the exact same weather and time that he was. But we're still filling our net pretty quick, catching really nice both small and largemouth bass. If anything, the smallmouth has been a little bit better quality, but let's see what we can do here. We'll start at this first location, and we'll try a spot here, and then we'll probably pretty quickly move on. This first location can be good, but I also have had it be really slow for me as well. Once we get loaded in here, I'm going to probably put it on private room so we don't have to deal with distractions. I meant to do that, but first, it's always interesting to see where other people are fishing, though. Yeah, this whole spot's pretty good. So this is where we're going to be fishing at. Let's go ahead and go to private room. And it's all about angles on some of these spots. Oh, it usually doesn't take that long to load when you're just switching rooms. So I kind of like to be over here at this angle, but a lot of times you can also come over here and you get a little bit more of an angle, kind of getting on that side as well. But let's start over here and just kind of, we're going to go straight across and then bring it back, again using the frog popper. I also have brought a bass jig, because there's times where I feel like this frog popper will kind of get pretty slow. We're doing retrieve 2 speed, and then we're just walking it or popping it across towards us. And you do that by, of course, right-clicking your mouse. We had a strike there, but the fish did not get hooked, which, especially with a smallmouth bass, that seems to happen a lot, it seems like. But or maybe it's just some of the smaller sized fish. This is a 3.0 trophy frog popper, so it's fairly large hook. We did see that strike, so let's cast it again. And then if we don't catch something on this cast, I might switch to the bass jig. It's nice to kind of get a read on multiple lures, I would say. It's nice to switch. There's another strike. So they're definitely active right now. It's just a matter of hooking one of them. I think we'll cast again with this lure, because if we can hook that fish, I'd like to catch it on this frog popper if possible. So let's try it again. It's very rare that I'm going to get a strike that very close to the bank in this spot. Typically, now we're seeing some fish activity, but typically it's closer to that bank, or as you're bringing it in between the two logs there in the water. There we go. So let's see what we've got in terms of, in terms of both species and size here. This seems like pretty small. That might be a smallmouth, and it might just be a young one or a little one. No, it's a young largemouth. So this is about as, small a bass as we're going to catch here, and it's still $64, but it's only 9 XP. So not great, but as far as the money, not terrible either. Let's go right back and see if we can't find a little bigger one here. Yeah, they're definitely active in this spot right now, which is a good sign. All right, let's throw that bass jig one time. Just see what happens. Not the casting spoon. The bass jig. And we'll probably just go stop and go. Still reel speed 2. But we're just going to do a couple of rotations and do a little stop and go. So I like the frog popper, but I do feel like it's streaky at times. And sometimes if I'm not catching a fish, it's worth throwing this bass jig out there, because I find that I feel like sometimes the fish that might not get on the frog popper might go ahead and jump on the bass jig. So let's see what we got here. Looks like another small largemouth. And that's actually a regular largemouth, which is nice. So now we're up to 25 XP for the fish and $151. So I try to get, 2 or 3 fish at a spot, and then I'll switch off. Unless it's just not active at all, then don't waste your time. Just move to another spot. We had a strike. If we're going to get it, it'll be right here. I think it's gone too far now. I just don't see strikes happen on this side of the bank very often. Okay, let's look at the next spot. Now we're going to go to the Great Parking Job. I think of all the spots I'm going to show you, this one's probably my favorite. We've got several spots here. First, let me show you just real quick. This is actually, we want to go the smaller casting spoon. This is the spot if you are here doing the pike mission to get the trophy frog unlocked. This is the spot you want. Still 2 retrieve speed, but we're just going to twitch it straight across. If I can remember, this is how we did. I think this is how I caught it, twitching. I believe so. And it did not take long. Some of the maps took longer getting the right trophy pike, but this one I think I got within a cast or 2. There we go. And that's all you got to do. Now, this may or may not be a trophy, but that's what you're trying to catch right there. So it's not too difficult. Just use the smaller casting spoon with the 1/0 hook. I think this is a trophy. It's fighting a little bit. Yeah, so that's exactly what you need there. I think it has to be over 1.8 pounds if I remember. So anyway, that's how you do that. That's how you do that part of the challenge, which we've already done. But okay, and then here are the spots that I want to show you, though. The first one is from here, and the second one will actually be up and around this mound here. So this lane here might be my favorite spot to fish in the whole lake for bass. And also, this is where I caught the unique long-nosed gar, or whatever it's called. So you really just want to kind of cast in this lane, as well as this lane over here, sort of bringing it by these weeds. And then even just right down the middle works too. So let's just throw it out there and see if we can get some fish activity going. If we can go just left of the weeds, we won't get snagged. Again, we're just going to pop it straight towards us. You don't even have to cast that far, actually. If you just cast just a little past the weeds, you probably waste less time. I think that was a hit. There was another one. We still have a chance here, though. Now, sometimes I do catch them, especially on the bass jig, all the way up to the bank in this spot. All right, let's just go a little bit past the weeds. There was all kinds of activity we saw as we were bringing that in, starting right about there. Yep. Just not hooking it. Again, bass jig might catch it, but or you could just keep going with this. Eventually it probably would hook it. All right. I'm going to try the left lane now. With this, I don't think those weeds snag you very much, so we're just going to go right over them and bring it in next to that old beat up. My read on it is that maybe this trophy frog popper might have a slightly higher chance of catching the trophies. Although it certainly does not always catch the trophies. But the bass jig, for me at least, is a little more consistent. There we go. And I could increase drag, but I am really trying to be careful with this frog popper, especially the fact that you can get that unique gar on there. If you lose this lure, I don't think there's a way to get it back since it was a mission reward. Although we're getting up high enough level now that we will have access to other lures as well. All right. I'm going to increase drag just slightly here for now, I think. We won't go crazy, but we'll go up a little bit. This might be a decent one. Depends on if it's large or smallmouth, I guess. All these first spots I'm showing you, I catch both largemouth and smallmouth in. The last couple of spots I show you, I've only been catching smallmouth. But if you can get the smallmouth trophies, those are actually quite lucrative. And that may be what this is. It doesn't look like a largemouth to me. Trophy smallmouth. So it's kind of what we're going for. One of the things we're going for. $329, 110 experience. Really adds up quick. Really does. All right, so we're going to go right down the middle this time, still with the frog popper. I've caught them right down the middle of this lane just as much as on the sides, so just this whole area seems to be a gold mine for bass. So much activity. Again, it's 2 strikes just in this cast. And probably get one more right here. Maybe not. Nothing was chasing it. All right, and before we switch spots, I'll at least try one cast here with the bass jig. Again, we're getting so many hits down this right side lane. I don't think we want it to fall too far. Mostly want it to be up towards the top. Certainly not on the bottom, at least. There we go. Oh, that was a snag. I really thought that was a fish for a second. There's a fish. Woo. Almost bounced off. Much smaller. That's a small largemouth, isn't it? Yeah, young largemouth. Okay, let's show the next spot. Again, all these spots, I mean, I'm sort of bouncing around. And I do think it's helpful to bounce around just because you're not wasting time on a spot that's just not super active, but all these spots have been producing at one time or another. I just saw fish activity, so we're going to go right at that fish activity. But this is fishing in a similar, some of the same spots that we were just fishing at. It's just, obviously, it's just a different angle. And this has been working well, too. There we go. And if you have seen that old KP Shimino video, or if you watch it now, it's very helpful, and he goes over a lot of these same spots. I think we will do that trophy bass jig mission soon, though, if I can afford the travel cost of going back and forth to those places, because the trophy bass jig you get for that looks pretty good. I like that you're getting decent gear for some of these missions. I guess I could just up the drag a little bit instead of spending so much time fighting it. It's another nice one, though. I'd love to be able to show you all a trophy largemouth, but for me, they just haven't been as active. This is another smallmouth, to be honest. I'm pretty sure. Sometimes I get them confused. I think I know what it is, and it's not, but that looks small, like a smallmouth to me. It's another nice one, though. We just finished some kind of mission or challenge. The old slim float. Okay. So again, this can be a really good spot as well. I just need to respond to a text real quick. All right. We want to let's do one more in this spot. Still got a couple more spots I want to show you before we wrap it up, but those other two spots are primarily going to be smallmouth, so I would love to see a couple of largemouth, but they're just not as active for me. I really don't know where the largemouths have gone. Maybe they shipped them all to Florida. This is a tiny one. Whew. And I kept my drag up. Good thing I didn't get a unique gar again. When I caught that unique gar, I almost lost the lure. It's very sad. All right, young smallmouth. How much does it weigh? 0.59. Thinking about whether we want to keep it or not. For $32. I guess we'll just keep everything because I don't know how long. Okay. So that's pretty much it on this side of the lake. Let's go try the other side. This is the Into the Rocky Blue. And this spot's pretty cool. I like this spot for smallmouth. If it's active, it can be really fun. This is an overcast day. I think the overcast days for me have been a little better than sunny, but they're not that different. You can catch these bass, I think, no matter what the weather is, as long as you're fishing in the good time of day. All right, we're going to go back up on drag. It's going to be smallmouth exclusively over here, unless it shocks me. But I think this will be another decent one. This certainly isn't a young one. It may even be a trophy. Come on. Yeah, it's got to be a trophy, right? It's got a lot of fight in him. He's trying to pop off. Okay. Oh, it was not a trophy. It was a nice non-trophy, though. All right. Anywhere just sort of in this area. And then, obviously, you're just kind of bringing it right by this rock wall. Oh. And the bass jig works good on the smallmouth as well. Again, I think I probably like the trophy frog popper a little bit more overall, but I mean, you catch just as many with the bass jig. Ooh, I love that. Right at the last minute there. Oh, a largemouth. Okay, I'm shocked. It's the first largemouth I've caught over on this side of the lake. Very cool, though. All right, let's do one more. So one of the next things we got to do, because this bass setup will last us. We should be good on this setup in Florida as well, as far as I know. But I need to start upgrading feeders now. We need to get some, whatever the beefiest feeder rods and reels we can buy in the next level or two. We need to do that. Okay, feels like it's time to switch, doesn't it? All right, let's go over here. This is Rubble of Old Times. All right, 2 spots here. One just down here at the shore, casting right up that way, and that's pretty nice, but I think I still like this other one better. And that is to go right here, and then you'll see fish activity all along these rocks at times. There's some right there too. I've not really cast to that spot before, but let's try that. There's some fish activity, so. Never hurts to cast right at the activity. Probably should use the bass jig for that cast, though. Yeah, let me try that, and then I'll show you where I normally cast in this spot. I'm just curious about this. I mean, it may not even be bass. That might be a hot spot for something else. I think that's actually where I caught the catfish on a feeder in that spot. Okay, so normally where we cast here is going to be right up into this rocky area. And a lot of times you'll get strikes pretty soon after you start reeling it in. We'll try the frog popper one time before we rotate back to the first spot we were at. Did you see that? There we go. Nice smallmouth. This may be a trophy. Really nice fish. And like I said, for the most part, over on this side of the lake, pretty much all you're going to see are the smallmouth. There was a strike. See if it follows it like it did last time. Maybe not. It won't go much further. All right. Let's go back here. How are we on our... Yeah, we're still at the peak of fishing. All right, so let's see if we can't get something going here again. And again, this is just what I tend to do is just kind of rotate. Actually, we're just one fish away from filling our net probably. That much fish activity, we're gonna I was about to say we're gonna cast right again, but there's a nice largemouth. So let's just slide over a little bit, see if we can't get another one, and then we'll be done. We have filled our net now. This will just be for experience if we catch something. I don't think the gar are over here, so I'm going to keep my... Ooh. I tried to hit it again. We had 2 strikes there. Keep my tension up. Once again, when this spot is active like this, it's really good. I still think I like the one by the car a little better, but it's hard to beat this one too. Okay. Let's go ahead and leave. How much do we have in our fish keeper? We've got 2,400. So not quite as much as New York when you catch a ton of walleye. With this same size fish keeper, you know, it's about 500 more for the walleye, but it's still really good. Still really good money, really good experience, and it's just fun. Kind of mix things up a little bit. I wish we would have seen a trophy largemouth this time, but we didn't this time. Some trophy smalls though, and that trophy redfin pickerel. All right, I guess I'll go ahead and leave North Carolina. Okay. And if we track that, we have to equip the right thing for it to even show up. But what do we need on this still? We need to go to Mudwater and then Falcon, which we may end up at Falcon anyway. So that would mean going to Missouri and getting the bass there, which I still have an advanced license, so it's just 1,200. Maybe we should just try to do that. I might do that off recording though. Okay, so let's look in the shop though, because what I really want to get is a new keep net. So we can now get this, and we won't have another one until 20. That is a pretty big upgrade though, to be able to go from 11 pounds to 15 pounds, and it's saving us some money. Do we spend 8,000 now or just wait and spend 9,000 at level 20? I think we wait at this point. It just depends on what kind of fishing we're going to be doing, how big the fish are going to be. Because the one we have only allows 8.5 pound fish. So that just sort of determines what we can do. We can get this... with how much feeder bottom fishing I do, I'm thinking we might get the chum chest, actually. And the next one's not till level 23, so that might be worth getting. We just upgraded our rod case. At level 19, we can get a 4th rod. I just don't know that we need 4 for now. I don't know. And at 20, we'll be able to get this, which will just be helpful. Go up to a lot more tackles and another, still 2 lines, but that'll be nice. And then we have the dual stand, so we're not getting a... Why would you get... Maybe somebody can help me with this, but why would you get a mono feeder stand? Does it allow... Neither one of them have bite alarms. I don't know, that's just weird. And that's kind of the upgraded version of that. It holds 2. Maybe the design of it allows you to adjust the angle, where I don't think you can adjust this angle. Maybe that's the difference. That's kind of cool that you can put 2 slingshots up in different locations. But then at 41, you can get the really nice one that has the bite alarm on it. But you really can't go triple until 45, huh? That's when you're getting into carp fishing. Okay. So when do bottom rods come into play? Not till level 34. Okay, so we're still looking at feeder rods. And the best we can do is the level 16, but we're going to be able to do 19, which jumps up to 13 pound. And then 21 and then 23. 21 and 23 is really when you see the jump, I guess. So it depends on what we want to fish for. What we have now, we could go up to 7 pounds with this. Right now we've got it capped at 4. So we could do like just up to 7 pounds until we get high enough level to really upgrade significantly. So there's a lot of stuff to consider. In terms of where I want to go next and actually spend some time, it's going to either be Florida or Oregon. Oregon's a level 14. Florida's a level 18. Florida, you've got obviously the bass, and that's the butterfly peacock and the largemouth is kind of what you're there for, right? But I think people also make good money off of the tarpon. Is just going to be way too big for our low-level gear. That's what we're fishing on at our main account is tarpon. Red drum might be something you can make some money off of with like a medium-sized bottom feeder. And I want to say the snook. So common weight's going to be up to, what is that, like 13 pounds? Okay. But at our level, if you go to Florida, what you're going to Florida for are the bass. Really, you're going to Florida for the bass, I think. And then at Oregon, it's about the trout. 2 to 10 pounds. Cutthroat smaller. 1 to 3 pounds. 4.4 pounds. So there's options there too. Okay, that's what's in front of us, and then we're level 18. Has anything new? Nothing opens up over here till 20. But we still haven't, maybe that's what, I don't know. I don't know what size we need. We still haven't really fished in Netherlands. And I did want to try that. And then we don't unlock any new maps in North America until Alberta. And I remember back when I fished that on my main account. Isn't that where the the burbot and the lake trout, what's it called? Yeah, lake trout and Atlantic salmon, right? Yeah, lake trout and Atlantic salmon. We're gonna have to have upgraded spin gear for that. It does have pike there as well. But there's a spot right off that dock. I don't know if it's still active, but you get burbot, pretty nice trophy burbot. Up to 17 pounds. That's a weird fish, isn't it? Okay. As always, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.